Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the F-106 electronic pipe, which I received from www.e-cigkings.com. Before I start though, I must point out I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review, but my opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, let's go straight ahead and show you what's in the box. Okay, so the F-106 electronic pipe comes in a presentation box. If you open up the lid, inside you're going to get an instruction manual, a plastic pipe stand, the actual pipe itself, two of these 800 mAh 18350 batteries, a wall charger, two sort of tank atomizers, and the kit doesn't come with any e-liquid, but they do include a empty filling bottle. Okay, so here we have the main body or the bowl of the pipe, and according to the website this is made out of real wood, though it doesn't actually specify what that wood actually is. Uses a 510 atomizer connection, so that means you can use any atomizer or cartomizer that also has a 510 threading. On the side you're going to find a slightly naff looking Diamante effect mangle button, and this is what you're going to press and hold down each time you want to have a vape. It does have the 5-click on, 5-click off feature, so if you were going to carry it around in your pocket for example and you're worried about it accidentally activating, you can obviously turn it off to prevent that from happening. So at the moment it's in its off position. If I want to turn it on, just tap the button quickly 5 times. Now we'll then turn it on, and as you can see when you press the button down you get this blue light emit around it. And then again if you want to turn it off, tap the button quickly 5 times. And that's it, it will no longer activate. On top you have this rather bulbous and again slightly naff looking sort of plastic ruby, I suppose you called it, and this is part of the battery lid, and if you unscrew this you will then reveal the battery. So to remove or install the battery you just have to slide this little latch over, and then from there you can take the battery out, and when reinstalling the battery you're just going to insert the negative end in first, push it down and slide the latch back over like that. When putting the lid back on, I would recommend not doing it too tight because there's not a lot to sort of get a good grip on, so if you over tighten it it's quite hard to remove, so just do it until it's just starting to bite. Okay, so the kit comes with two of these CE5 cartomizers, which at first glance look very similar to your regular sort of clearer misers, but these ones don't have the long pieces of wick inside the tank that soak up the e-liquid and then feed it to the heating coil at the top. Instead they are very much a cartomizer in a tank. So obviously the kit comes with two. I've been using this one here over the last sort of couple of weeks, but I've saved a fresh one for the review, so I'll quickly go ahead and show you how to fill that one up. Okay, so these are very nice and simple to use. All you've got to do is unscrew the mouthpiece, hold it at an angle, drip your e-liquid against the inside wall and fill it up to that top line where it says 1.6 millilitres. And then once that's done, all you've got to do is replace the mouthpiece and you're all good to go. So once the battery has been installed and your tanks will fill up with e-liquid, all you've got to do is screw the two parts together. So again, nice and simple, and that's it. You can start having a vape. Okay, so that is the F-106 electronic pipe. Let's go ahead, see what it vapes like. Okay, so that was the F-106 pipe, and what I'll do now is go ahead and show in action. So I'm going to be using one of these CE5 cartomizers that comes with the kit. It's been filled up with some 18mg strength tobacco flavoured e-liquid. It's just a PG e-liquid, and the resistance of these cartomizers is 2.8 ohms. And as you can see, it doesn't particularly produce a very nice amount of vapour, unfortunately. And the main reason for that is the resistance of these cartomizers is just too high for what the pipe actually outputs. And it's quite a frustrating vape, to be quite honest, because like I said, it just doesn't feel like anything's particularly firing up. You know, when you're inhaling, it doesn't feel like you're getting any vapour actually into your mouth. And it's just quite a frustrating sort of experience, really. It feels like you're vaping on something where the battery is almost completely dead, basically. But it's not so much a fault of the pipe, and it's not so much a fault of the cartomizer either. So I'm just going to give you a quick explanation of what I mean. So I'm going to put this cartomizer on my Sigeti Z-Max now, which is outputting at a slightly higher voltage. It's at 9 watts at the moment. As you can see, like, you're getting plenty of vapour out of it. So there's nothing wrong with the cartomizer. And I'll just quickly put I've got a spheroid here. I'm just going to put that onto the pipe. And this is, I think it's got a coil of around 2 ohms as far as I can remember. And as you can see, you're getting a decent amount of vapour out of that as well. So the pipe is certainly more than capable of producing a decent amount of vapour, and so are the cartomizers. But because of the high resistance and the output voltage that the pipe outputs its voltage, the combination of the two just don't particularly work that well. It's just very sort of wispy vapour. Like I said, you're not getting that sort of recognisable sort of sizzle as though something's actually happening inside the cartomizer either. And it, like I said, just feels very much like the battery is on its last legs and needs to be recharged, basically. In terms of flavour and throat here, these do produce quite a good flavour actually. It's bringing out the flavour of my tobacco nicely. But like I said, it's even better when it's at the slightly higher voltages though. And in terms of throat hit, even though I'm not getting a great deal of vapour here, I am still getting quite a nice throat hit out of it. In terms of vapour production, those are very sort of frustrating. So, for me personally, if I was going to, let me rephrase that. If you was going to get one of these, personally, the first thing that I would advise you do is get rid of the included cartomizers and get like a CE4 or something similar, which has got a resistance of around sort of 2 ohms, and then you're going to get so much more vapour, and it'll be such a far nicer sort of vaping experience. One thing that doesn't help matters either is that it has a 5-second cutoff, and that means you can sort of hold that button down and activate the atomizer for 5 seconds, but after 5 seconds the lights will start flashing and it will just sort of cut out. Now you can obviously, as soon as it's finished doing its sort of light flashing sequence, you can press the button down and start vaping again. But because of that, like I feel as though I need to sort of hold the button down for a long time to get that atomizer to heat up to a decent level where it is going to give me a decent sort of mouthful of vapour. And so by doing that, you're holding the button down and taking little primer puffs and primer puffs and primer puffs, but then you sort of forget about the cut-off, and then eventually you're just blowing out nothing basically. So you have to sort of be mindful of keeping pressing down that button, taking your finger off, wait for the light sort of sequence to finish, then press it down again to sort of carry on. And again, it just adds to that sort of frustrating experience. And if these were a lower resistance, I wouldn't feel the need to do that at all. So you can see just there how much better it is if you do like a 5 seconds of primer puffing and then take your proper inhale. Now, excuse me, I just want to point out, normally when I do reviews on electronic pipes or electronic cigars, people always say to me, you're not meant to inhale it, you're meant to just sort of mouth the vapour or mouth the smoke and appreciate the flavour. We have to bear in mind that electronic pipes, electronic cigars, electronic cigarettes, whatever you're vaping on, they all work on the same principle. You have a battery, an atomizer or heating element, and e-liquid. So it doesn't matter whether you're using an e-pipe or an e-cig, you can still vape it by just mouthing the vapour and appreciating the flavour, or you can inhale it. It doesn't really make any difference at all. So it does all come down to sort of a personal preference. Battery life, it's not too bad. I mean, I've not been using it as an all-day, everyday device, but for me, I've been using it sort of in the evenings, sitting there in front of the telly, having a nice sort of cup of tea or coffee, and just sort of having a toke on it that way. And I'd say over a week period, I've probably charged it twice, I think it was. So if you're going to use this as your all-day, everyday device, I would have thought the 800 milliamp hour batteries, you're probably going to go through, if you're like a fairly sort of moderate user, you know, one may well last you the full day. If you're a particularly heavy sort of user, then chances are you're probably going to go through the 2 batteries. Another big negative for me is this silly sort of diamante effect manual button, especially when you combine it with the sort of big, like sort of plastic ruby on top. I know it's obviously meant to be giving the impression of like sort of the lit embers of a real sort of traditional tobacco pipe, but the 2 combined with the bit of chrome there, for me it just makes the whole thing look very sort of tacky, really. You know, very sort of Liberace. That's what I look at. That's what I think of every time I sort of look at it, really. And I can't see many sort of hardcore tobacco pipe smokers watching this video, looking at this and thinking that's a perfect thing for me as an alternative to my sort of tobacco pipe. I think they're going to look at the diamante effect sort of button, the big sort of plastic ruby on top, and just think it looks extremely naff. And probably going to go straight on to try and find a different model. No, so again, looks wise, I just think it looks pretty silly, really, to be quite honest. There's not really a lot of positives for me to say. I found it to be quite a frustrating vape because of the sort of high resistance of the included cartomisers. The 5-second cutoff has sort of added to that sort of pain in the arse, and when you combine that as well with it looks a bit naff as well, you know, because of the sort of diamante effects and the plastic rubies stuck on the top. It's just made for, you know, not a particularly pleasant vaping experience for me personally anyway. But, you know, if you do fancy trying one, then go along to www.ecigkings.com. Thank you very much for watching. Also come along and visit my website at www.ecigreviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping, see you later.